It's the largest hydro power station in Australia, and to this day is still one of the largest pumped hydro facilities in the world.
The Snowy Hydro Scheme, Australia's massive renewable energy provider, supplying 2/3 of the country's renewable energy from the natural resources in the Kosciuszko National Park. Of the 9 power stations on site, one stands out as the biggest and the best.
Tumut 3 Power Station, or T3 as we affectionately know it by, is the largest power station in the Snowy Hydro fleet. So it's actually capable of 1,800 megawatts of power, which is enough to power over 500,000 homes. It pumps out some serious amounts of electricity, but in doing that, it uses some serious volumes of water as well. Over 1,300 tonne of water per second will go through the power station. And to give that some context, that's an Olympic-sized swimming pool of water will go through that power station every 2 seconds.
With that kind of flow, the water supply would disappear very quickly, if not for a special feature in Tumut's design.
It's a pumped hydro facility. So that means once the water's come down and gone through the station, we actually have the ability to pump that water back up the hill so that we can reuse it. So it replenishes its own fuel supplies.
To produce power, 6 500-metre long pipes or penstocks feed water through to 6 turbines, each weighing the equivalent of 400 family cars. These spinning turbines drive generators that produce 300 megawatts of electricity to the power lines supplying the grid.
Everything in this power station is on steroids. Everything is big. That in itself comes with some incredible challenges for the team as far as changing stuff out.
And that's what the maintenance crew is facing today. Team leader Ron is overseeing mechanic Chris and 4th-year apprentice Grant as they pull one of the 6 units offline to replace a valve showing signs of wear.
G'day everyone. As we all know, we had a bit of a problem. We found a pressure regulating valve on Unit 5 that needs changing out.
To fix the problem, the team must first get a replacement valve to where it needs to be, deep underground. Once it arrives at the station, the 800-kilogram part has to be carefully transported by crane to an opening at the far end of the main level. Spotters will be strategically placed as it's slowly lowered down 6 stories to its final destination, the inlet valve floor. The damaged part will then be removed and guided through a narrow passage past vital equipment, making space for its replacement to be slotted into the pipework. And this all needs to occur in less than 6 hours.
So that unit, it's rated at 300 megawatts. That's enough electricity to power probably about 100,000 homes.
With that level of power production out of action, the team is under pressure to get this valve replaced before demand for electricity peaks at the end of the day. Ron and his team aren't the only ones keeping a close eye on the job. At the heart of the entire Snowy Hydro Scheme's day-to-day operations is the control centre based in Jindabyne.
Our job is to monitor all of the plant across all of our assets across 3 states and also do the operation of the generators and manage the water, so move the water between the different dams.
Here, the team will be on standby in case the outage runs into overtime.
Communications between the control room and the plants is essential. We need to know real time what's happening. You know, if your outage is going to run late or be early, we need to know that because we'll adjust our plans going forward. The control room for Snowy Hydro operates 24/7. It's important that the team is alert all the time. The electricity industry, the market runs in 5-minute intervals, so every 5 minutes you could be dispatched to provide energy.
This never-ending demand for energy means that for Ron and his team, sticking to schedule will be of the utmost importance.
We really need to get it done first and foremost safely, but as expediently as we can as well.
We're racing the people on the ground. Brother versus brother today.
In the skies above the streets of downtown Brisbane, sibling rivalry has reached new heights. Family business Lindor's Construction Logistics is helping Multiplex and Destination Brisbane Consortium to transform the underutilised Queen's Wharf site into a desirable destination for locals and tourists.
Pulling apart is kind of just get it out on the ground and break it up. This one's actually really good because we're not loading it out onto trucks and dealing with transport, truck drivers and traffic control. So this is a big bonus for us.
But it's not just about moving the crane. The team is taking the opportunity to give these high flyers of the construction world the once-over.
All the crane has to be completely crack tested to identify if there's been any cracks or any faults with the crane.
Matt will run a crew on the ground, coordinating the high-stakes job. His brother Nick and a team of riggers will catch a lift to the elevated operating platform. The base of this $1.5 million crane is embedded 5 stories below ground. The cabin, engine and jib arm are twice that distance above the ground. The top crew will need to disconnect the cables running out to the 45-metre long boom and feed them down to the team on the ground. Slings will be attached to a second crane, which will lower the jib down. Then the platform can be removed. Once the crew has climbed down, the tower can be disassembled in pieces and the base will be released, allowing the last parts to be pulled out of the ground. And all this needs to take place by lunchtime.
And we're free, mate. Up.
The work platform is 50 metres above ground. Having a head for heights is the first priority for crew up here.
We're out. We're in.
The second is checking they have the right tools for the job.
Left your 2 shooters down the base.
Oh, bro, what did I tell you? I'll leave them up here.
Fortunately, there's enough spare spanners to go around, as the crew, led by an experienced fitter, works to override the crane's normal operating systems.
They're disconnected the crane's functioning limits, which stops him from going down too far or going up too far, just a safety factor. So he's got to get rid of those in order for us to be able to get it down low enough so that we can then hook onto it with the other crane. So he's preparing that. The other boys are just preparing for the actual jib to be laid down and lifted out. So it's all just a preparation process.
Part of the prep work involves disconnecting all the electronics that would normally help the operator use the boom with precision.
The lights that run up the outside of the jibs, his angle sensor that tells him where the position of his jib is at, and his load cell, which is out the end, which tells him how much weight he's actually picking up. So we disconnect all those, so he's got nothing attached to them, so once we pull this out, knock the 2 pins out, he's just gone. There's nothing still attached.
With the boom arm unencumbered by cables, it can now be manoeuvred into the optimum position for removal.
Now we're actually going to lay the jib down to where we can get it to. We're going to hook on with the other crane, that crane over there, and that's the one that's actually going to lift it out.
But as the boom comes down, they're about to raise the stakes on this lofty job.
That'll do.
Nick and his crew are quite literally out on a limb as they try to find the perfect lifting point.
If you haven't got the right balance point, basically instead of your boom coming out nice and smoothly, it can nosedive or kick up, then you're just in for bad.
This is a shallow water drive too, so we can get nice and close to pipes that are along shore. Today we're going to take it up to the slipway and then take it to the dock, which is going to be worked on.
Brisbane, the capital of Queensland. To locals, it's known as the River City, thanks to the waterway that snakes its way through town. A few kilometres from the mouth of the Brisbane River, things are heating up at the Bhagwan Marine Docks. A vital part of their fleet has got an unusual flight to catch.
She's used for anchor handling, lifting cargo on and off the shores.
The team face a massive and challenging job today. The 100-tonne Multicat will be carefully manoeuvred into a travel lift and then hoisted up onto the shipyard for her 3-year service and ultimately a safety survey. After a visual inspection of the propellers and hull, marine mechanics will be working inside and out, removing her rudder blades, propellers and steering shaft, all in preparation for servicing in the workshop. The Kugari weighs about 100 tonnes And while the travel lift has got 3 times the muscle required to hoist her out of the river, nothing about this is routine. It will take all the skill of 2 experienced operators to get it out of the water. A system of straps run through a mega block and tackle, supported by a steel gantry.
That wasn't so hard, was it? This is all operated by this bloke up here. He's got 2 spotters.
Balance becomes a big issue when you've got 100 tonnes of boat dangling in the air.
If it looks like she's going to go a little bit off with the trim or listing a little bit, they'll drop it down and slide and adjust the slings accordingly. Definitely not dropping. No free falling here.
There's nothing for the crew to do but enjoy the ride.
That's you, gentlemen, off. Welcome.
Thanks, mate.
Bhagwan Marine's technical superintendent Dan is part of the welcoming committee. He's eager to see the condition of the hull.
They are specifically designed to actually ground out and get into shallow waters and do jobs like that. But it is a bit of a contact sport, some people like to say, but more contact they make means more money I have to spend, which isn't very liked either.
It's been about 3 years since this big vessel has been out of the water. While she dries, Dan kicks into inspection mode.
Just to have a quick evaluation.
Looks like something's been down the middle.
And there's bad news on the port side as well.
Oh, Jesus.
We've got our radios. We're going to have spotters down on each floor.
The team at Tumut 3 Power Station is preparing to fix a faulty valve on a water cooling system by lowering its almost 1 tonne replacement down 6 stories. In order to do it, it needs to be a carefully planned procedure.
Chris is going to be in charge of the lift today as our dogman and rigger. So we'll take orders from Chris.
A 300 megawatt generating unit has been taken offline while a new part is brought in.
Yeah, take him up a little bit, mate.
It's critical the system is back up and running before peak demand. 100,000 people will need the station's power at the end of the day.
Just when it comes up, watch it doesn't swing. Because of the sheer size of our station, this is regarded as one of the smaller valves. Righto, while she starts travelling in, mate.
What you actually see of the power station on the outside is a very, very small percentage of the actual structure itself. Once we go down into the station itself and we get to what we call the operating floor, which is the main floor within the building, and we're standing on top of the generators, we're actually below the lake level. The rest of the power station is all down, so it's all under the water. There's a number of different levels as we go down from the operating floor to the generating floor, down to the turbine floors, and then right down at the bottom to the pump floors on units 4, 5 and 6.
The replacement valve has a long journey ahead, and with the power supply to 100,000 homes at stake, it needs to be handled carefully.
Yep, we're going to drive it remotely today, Guy, and that'll give our crane driver a really good sight of the load, and we'll keep the load low to the ground, and that'll be the best way to do it.
There's no rushing progress as the 800 kilogram valve is manoeuvred through this mega-sized station.
Yeah, we've got a spotter down there.
The first part of the delivery process has gone to plan, but the final destination is still a long way down.
We're working here on the inlet valve floor, so it's about 6 floors down from where the valve has been delivered to the station.
Are you blokes right down the bottom? Because we've got our spotters here and we're almost ready to lift the valve over the handrail.
Yeah, mate, we're ready to guide the load down the bottom here. Ready when you are.
Right, that'll do you, Walshy. Take him down to that. It's a bit like threading a needle. This power station's 9 very tall stories high, and it's 6 stories is the height we have to lower this valve from down to one of the lower floors. And we also have to lower it past a fair bit of equipment and devices, so we need to really have a good lift plan, know exactly what we're doing. There's a survey point there we need to be really mindful of, so we'll make sure we clear that. And there's an air valve down there, but most importantly there's a little cable tray along the handrail there that we really need to watch. We're going to lower it over now, mate. You right?
It's the riskiest part of the whole procedure. If the sling gets bumped or fails in any way, the 800-kilogram valve will plunge 30 metres straight down to the bottom.
I'll just keep well back until it's past the turbine floor.
Any slight movement or miscalculation could be catastrophic, causing thousands of dollars of damage.
Just be ready to stop him, mate, in case it does swing and we get near that survey point.
Just get ready for a lap up. Once it comes back, mate, the slings are inside each other. Little lap up, mate, little lap up.
Nick and the team from Lindor's Construction Logistics are trying to strike the right balance in their precarious perch 50 metres above downtown Brisbane. His brother Matt is overseeing the operation from the ground.
Now they're just setting up to get hold of the jib. They're going to hang on to that with the other crane.
Lifting straps need to be perfectly positioned to ensure the boom doesn't come crashing down when it's removed from the platform.
Go a little lefty, mate, go a little lefty.
But even with a wealth of experience on board, the crew is still encountering obstacles on its temporary outpost.
And don't hoist at all, go left for me.
The straps have become entangled on a pulley block and are proving tricky to release.
Lap up for me, mate, lap up. Hold, hoist down. Far out, that was a mish. Right on the eye. Keep coming, buddy, good pace.
Now that the slings have landed, the crew needs to connect them so the second crane can support the boom.
All right, Justin. How much weight you got, Juddy?
I have 8 tonne, or just over 8.5 now.
No, mate, we're going to need some hoist up out of you now, please. Hoisting up. Touch more, mate, touch more. And hold it there, mate. Stop, stop.
The second crane is holding the tension. With the workers still on top, it cautiously lowers the boom slightly.
Luffing is the action of moving the boom up and down. This lever here just moves basically shortens or lengthens that rope, which allows your boom to go up and down.
Now the ropes that normally control movement of the 45-metre long arm can be released. There's 140 metres of rope that needs to be fed out. The crane is worth $1.5 million, so every precaution is taken not to damage any component.
He's just guiding the luff rope down off the boom so it's not rubbing on the boom. Then we'll take the luff rope all the way off and then we'll pull the boom out once this luff rope's off.
The rope needs to be lowered 50 metres down. An object falling from that height could cause major damage. It's a tense time for the team, and it's now more than just the rope at risk of getting frayed.
Has Shane got that, man? Because it's trying to run away. Hey, keep tension on it. It's trying to run away. Oh.
It looks like something's been jammed in here, but yeah.
On the Brisbane River, a hard-working Multicat's taken an early morning flight, courtesy the travel lift. It's been a while since this boat's been high and dry, and so far the news isn't great.
No anodes left whatsoever. Oh, Jesus.
Sacrificial anodes are metal attachments, usually made of zinc, fastened to a boat's hull to prevent corrosion. Raw metal is not a good sign.
Oh, there's no anodes at all. It's not going to help the cause.
After 3 years in the water, this service couldn't have come at a better time.
What we're doing now is a renewal survey, which will be rudders down, check bearing clearances, pintle, rudder stop, blades off, shafts out. We'll check wearing faces on the shafts and do some NDT testing on the tapers and the keys and for crack testing.
Now she's clean, the crew can get her perched. The team is putting a lot of trust in the slings to hold this 100-ton boat. She's down safe. Now the real work starts. Kieran's tooled up and ready.
So we're gonna drop the rudder blade to undo the prop and get the prop off. And then once we've got the prop off, we can go up inside, see what we need to start undoing to take the shaft out. And basically what we need to do is get all the rudder and steering gear back to our workshop facilities.
It's a complex process. A scissor lift helps him to rise up and face the first challenge: salt water versus metal.
Always find it good practice to get a good old wire wheel on all the bolts before we get started, just so they come apart a little easier and they're not fighting you in the long run.
It's done the trick.
Pretty much every boat that you work on, it's always something new. Even being in the industry for about 9 years and working on boats all my time, you still get surprises every single day. You never stop learning, which is a positive, I suppose.
Next, the jump collar, which keeps the rudder in place.
Snapping bolts in this industry is a pretty common thing.
Kieran's boss, Jamie, has some news. The schedule isn't the only thing that's tight with this boat.
I'm just going to look at the back hull. The access points from midships. So you got to go down and then crawl through the voids.
We actually do have to drop the stocks out from inside. Apparently it's very tight up in there, so I think I've got a bit of a fun day ahead of me.
Kieran now needs to access the steering components from inside the hull. He'd better enjoy the sunshine and the elbow room while it lasts.
Yeah, a bit more.
Yeah, out another 100 mil, mate, just in case it swings and we'll miss the survey point.
It's a tense time at the Tumut 3 power station as an 800-kilo valve is lowered 6 stories down into the depths of the hydro plant. It's been a carefully coordinated procedure, with any wrong move potentially disastrous for Chris and his team waiting at the bottom of the drop.
I'll just keep well back until it's past the turbine floor.
We'll make sure the load's completely steady as we go past him.
Keep setting her down, mate. She's all clear so far.
Finally, under Ron's skilled supervision up top and Chris's guidance from underneath, the valve has almost reached the lower level without any mishaps on the way down.
I've guided the parts down through the hole, which is a very delicate process due to the fact that we have a lot of instrumentation on the machine. So potentially if we rip one of them out, the machine will fail to start, which we then have to repair before we can start the unit, which will push out our recall time.
With this valve replacement already time critical, the last thing the team needs is any delays. The 300 megawatt unit must be back online this afternoon, or else customers could be without power.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. There you go. You're down now.
Yeah, great work, mate. Well done, everyone.
But it's not just the replacement pressure release valve that needs to be handled with care. Grant has been undoing the bolts on the faulty PRV in preparation for its removal.
You know, to leave one at the top there, don't you? So that way we don't drop the bloody thing through. I'm actually going to get on the other side of this. Yeah. So I'm probably going to leave a couple in because I don't want this thing to fall on top of me.
Deciding which bolts to leave in is the easy part. Trying to get some of the others out is proving more challenging.
Can't crack one? Are you all right? Oh, he's got it. Just need to put a bit more fear into it.
But even with the valve supported by a blockchain, it doesn't want to budge.
If we can get that spacer out, it's going to make our job 10 times easier.
The metal plates at either end of the valve are designed to give it a snug fit, but now they're holding it to the pipework with the most tenuous of links.
Does it look like the spacer plate's going to come out all right?
It actually looks like she's painted in there. But it's a bit hard because see how she's here, and it's fallen.
With the valve no longer in full alignment,
It's starting to drop.
the tension on the heavy pipe has been eased, causing it to drop. It's a setback for the team as it struggles to get the 300 megawatt hydro power system back online before nightfall.
Has Shane got that, man? Because it's trying to run away. Hey, keep tension on it. It's trying to run away.
All good, Nico?
Yeah, mate.
Nick and his team from Lindor's Construction Logistics are pulling apart a 120-tonne tower crane at the Queen's Wharf development in Brisbane. They've managed to stop a runaway rope, but they're just as concerned about hitting another snag as they prepare to bring the boom arm down.
You make sure those keepers are out, don't stop us again.
Perched more than 50 metres above ground level, the crew on the boom has now removed all the rope.
Now for the fun bit.
So now we're removing these two pins, which are the last remaining things holding this, which is the jib, and that'll be going down to the ground crew. That'll be their problem now. Got it.
The first pin has surrendered successfully, but with one side free, the boom now needs to be realigned.
I need to come down a bit. As you can see, that side's lifted up a little bit, so come down, level it out, and then this pin should just float out. In theory. Yeah, Justin, hoist down a bit, please. Hoist down.
After 2 hours of preparation work, the boom is finally free.
Very good, buddy. Just leaving the hands, mate. All yours.
The 8.5-tonne jib arm is now under the control of the other crane operator.
Very nice, Justin. Keep happening, mate. Keep it happening.
It's a major step forward, but only the first part of the crane to come down.
Now we've got to get rid of this piece, the A-frame.
The A-frame sits above the operator's cab and counterweights, helping to feed out luff rope and provide stability for the tower crane.
Up the A-frame then as they were able to use 2 tower cranes to pull the crane down the back.
With the steel structure already secured by another crane, the team can now remove the bolts holding it in place.
Don't be shy.
The last attachment has now been released.
Righto, Johnny, hoisting up.
With the 5-tonne A-frame now dangling 50 metres above the ground, its delicate descent is now in Juddy's hands.
We got to keep the schedule going, so then we got blast and painters to come in to start prepping that work. So everything sort of has to work hand in hand.
The first hurdle to getting Bhagwan Marine's 100-tonne Multicat back on the water is the complicated job of removing the steering components from outside and in.
The inside of the steering setup where all the rams are that steer the rudders and all that, the access is really tight and difficult to get into. You never be too prepared going into these situations. Oh, beautiful.
It's a big ask for a tall tradie. Welcome inside the tiller flat.
Lucky I didn't have a big breakfast this morning. This big bar here is what ties the two rudders together, so when one ram moves, they move in sync. So pretty much just got to unbolt all the rams, all the tie rod bar, just so we can drop that stock out and get the rudder blade out. Pretty much just the inside work to what we were doing outside before. It's always the way that nuts and bolts fight you all the way in spots like this.
It's a battle Kieran has to wage. The rudders and propellers have to be removed for the marine surveyor to inspect.
Oh, don't fit that way. These are the optimum working conditions.
The fight's not over. Being a twin-engine boat means there's 2 of everything.
Beautiful. That's the hard part done. So now we can go back to focusing on the outside jobs where we're not in holes like that.
He might have room to move, but he's got to keep moving. Next, a bump test that checks on the state of the propeller bearings.
So sometimes a lot of things like bearings and stuff like that, the tolerances, everything has a strict code of conduct that it has to apply to.
If they're too far gone, the surveyor will demand they're replaced. The pressure is literally on. It's a small needle, but it could spell big bucks.
Starting to drop.
The team tasked with fitting a replacement valve at the Tumut 3 power station has encountered a problem removing the old part, which was firmly wedged in.
So as we rattled it, the pipework physically sort of dropped like that due to the weight, unsupported weight of the pipe.
A jack has been brought in to hold up the heavy pipe, allowing the now detached valve to be moved away without damaging its connecting points or flanges.
Are you ready? All right. Coming up. All right. So we're free. All right, now come sideways. All right, careful not to get underneath it. We drop it, worst we do is we broke a broken valve.
Break a pipe.
Yeah, I'd rather break a pipe than break you.
It's a tight workspace to navigate through. Chris elects to rig up a sling to get the old valve past safely.
Just watch that cable tray as you're starting to come down, and I'll start to pull it out, and you just help us guide it out. Keep coming, keep coming. Are you clear of that behind it? Yep. All right, come down. Stop, stop. We're done.
The troublesome part now out of the way, the focus is on getting the replacement valve in.
We need to get a bit of a crack on here and try and get her in nicely.
Despite needing to travel along a narrow path, the 800-kilogram valve slides through with ease.
How are we looking on your side? All good?
Yep, all good this side.
All right. Start bringing her up. Hold it in. Up a bit. Bit more. That's it.
The valve is finally where it needs to be, but lining it up requires a bit of fine-tuning.
She needs to rotate more towards the wall.
Put a bolt on that side, so bring her up a bit.
A rattle gun secures a few bolts to hold the valve in place, ready for the spacing plates, which will make sure it's a perfect fit on the pipe. This is the final step to getting the 300 megawatt system back online.
What have we done?
Oh no.
Righto, Johnny, hoisting up.
The tip of a tower crane is off to a flying start,
All good, mate, all good.
but has managed to avoid all vital equipment as it makes its way down to the ground in Brisbane's CBD.
Slow around, square off, disconnect.
The $1.5 million machine is getting dismantled so it can be relocated to another part of the massive Queen's Wharf development.
Now we're going to get rid of all these counterweights, which are the counterbalance, so you can pick up your heavy loads. Get rid of all these.
There are 6 counterweights to move, each weighing 3.7 tonnes, the equivalent of 2 large cars.
And holding.
Heavy-duty chains will safely secure the hefty load.
You're floating. How you looking, Shane?
Yeah, mate.
Very good pace, mate. Keep that going for me. You watch that power cord behind there?
There you go, mate.
Having an extra crane at his disposal is making Nick's life a little bit easier.
You don't usually get this lucky to get 2 hooks. It sort of speeds up the process a little bit, so we can take some stuff that way, some stuff that way.
With the weight lifted off, Nick now has his sights set on the next part to pry free.
We're going to send the power pack, which is this, and then we're coming back for the deck, the big lift for the day.
The 9-ton diesel engine is the driving force of the crane, and each element needs to be dismantled separately.
Disconnecting the throttle, all the engine controls, so we can separate the power pack from the deck.
Chuck us that shifter. Do you have a bigger one?
With such a vital piece of equipment, everything needs to be taken slowly, checking for any potential problems.
Steady hoist up, please, mate. Hoisting up. Got about half a metre till you come on. And hold that.
Happy this side.
No hoses, we all good?
I'm happy, mate.
Lovely. Righto, mate. Very steady hoist up. You've got the full weight there. You're floating. And height is good, mate. Go left.
The power pack is now up and away, leaving just one major obstacle to overcome on this crane deconstruction.
So the next stage is we're gonna take this deck as a whole, this whole machinery deck with the cabin as well.
At around 11.5 tonnes, this is the heaviest single component of the crane and requires a big effort to bring it down.
We got big 35-tonne rings that are going to go through the pins that we're holding the jib, and we have big chain blocks that are going to go to the back and bolt in. Then we just level it out, really. Level the whole thing out, make sure it's all nice and square.
And it may end up being a case of trial and error to get everything balanced on this elevated work platform.
Depending on how full the fuel is or the waste tank, you never know exactly how heavy it always varies. So, all right, Justin, steady hoist up, please, mate. Hoisting up.
Topside, everything is looking up, but a level down, it's a different story.
Not really any room to move down here at the moment. Trying to get these nuts off this slew ring.
Some of the bolts don't want to budge, which could prevent the crane from coming down.
We're just going to do a bump test on the prop. So pretty much what that does is it gives us our bearing tolerance, so we know if we need to replace the bearing.
In Brisbane, a vital part of Bhagwan Marine's fleet is up on chocks. Work is full steam ahead preparing the boat for its 3-year service. The exact speed that the boss, Dan, requires.
Our turnaround time is quick, otherwise we can't provide the services that we need to. When you're working in a shipyard like this, it's a pretty tight schedule, and as you can imagine, there's a lot of dollars involved in it.
Time and money, tough work pressures that every tradie has to contend with. The team from RL Marine have their sights set on removing the steering components. It's an intricate process, inside and out. There's a lot riding on this little dial. This bump test will determine the health of the propeller bearings and the boss's wallet.
20,000 each side, so
that's good.
That's not bad, eh?
Yeah.
Good news, a great incentive to help the crew push on. The rudder blades are the next cabs off the rank. A scissor lift, a crowbar, and plenty of know-how is all it takes. Once its twin on the port side is off, the guys shift their focus onto the propellers. At $5,000 a piece, it takes expert hands to nudge them off safely.
We just need to knock the pin out the end, then we're right to spin the nut off, and then we can start getting our puller set up.
These guys, they've been around for years. They are the professionals, you know. I don't recommend using anyone else.
Sometimes these props can be really hard to get off, so we're going to need to put a bit of effort in. So basically that's fully loaded, that's got 10 tonnes of pressure on it, and she hasn't come yet, so we're going to have to get a bit of oxy on the top, give it a bit of a wave, and should come off.
Yeah.
And the ties have done their job.
If you don't have it tied back, you're at pretty high risk of shooting it out of the nozzles.
Like a gigantic propeller-shaped bullet. Now they're off, the engine room is calling. The propeller shafts need to be freed from the gearboxes. There's a bit more real estate down here, but the task at hand is just as tough. Again, it's an inside-outside job.
There we go.
Kieran's close to the finishing line. He connects a hydraulic jack.
This jack is actually applying 30 tonnes of pressure.
It's not enough. A lick of flame should fix it. And for the day's grand finale, a balancing trick. Slide, measure, support, and pull. 300 kilos of shaft safely extracted.
We went really well. All the gear's out, got the shafts out. We're ready to get all the gear back to the machine shop, ready for refurb to put back. Obviously, we had a bit of a struggle to get some things undone, but that's just the nature of the beast. All in all, we didn't have too many struggles, and we're on and out.
The next stop for the innards of this hard-working little boat is the workshop. It won't be long until she's back in action on the water.
What have we done? Oh no.
The team at Tumut 3 Power Station are completing a tricky valve replacement to enable the 300 megawatt generating unit to go back online. But the valve is not lining up and the cause is still a mystery. Chris suspects the temporary supports on the heavy pipe could be partly responsible.
Some of it could be the fact that we've still got it jacked up too.
I reckon if I just wriggle it, it's still stopping at that same point. You hold that.
That'll be it. Yeah, you're pretty much on the inside.
Yeah, no, as long as it's touching the bolts down the bottom.
Yeah.
Happy days.
Alright, we'll drop that jack off.
No, not until we get the bolts in. Get the bolts in and at least get a couple of them tight. Otherwise, I'm worried that we're going to lose position.
It's a bolt to the finish line so that everything is up and running in time for peak power demand in the evening. Just as everything is looking ready to go, an unexpected problem comes up.
Yeah, we've had some alarms come up on turbine bearing cooling water flow.
Yeah.
So before we can put the unit back into service, we're going to have to get the boys straight onto it.
The team needs to clean the filtration system to ensure enough water reaches the power equipment so it doesn't overheat.
So we've got to just quickly here to these strainers here, we've just got to get these out.
Yep.
It's blocking flow, so we can't start the unit without it.
I'll do the top one and then maybe you can do the bottom one.
But it's not the dry working environment the apprentices were hoping for.
Sure that there's no residual pressure in there.
Don't we get the bucket?
Do we have one? Yeah, grab it if you can. It's not a real drama because this is only water and we have the, this whole area is drained.
Just a little bit left in the system.
Yeah.
And get drained downstairs.
This might be a routine job.
It's stuck in there, isn't it? Come on.
But that doesn't mean it's always easy.
Oh, this is a bit
By the time Chris arrives to check on progress, Grant has triumphed over the strainer.
I ran through the first one. There wasn't too much gunk in it. By the time I had fricked around and eventually got it out, all the gunk fell out into it, the bucket, which is good. Well, that came out all right. How's it looking?
Not really too much gunk in there, just a few little pebbles.
Beautiful. Plug her up.
We had a few flow issues on the carbon blend strainers and that happens, so that's all part of the commissioning process. So they jumped in, sorted that out, we've checked our flows, everything's all good.
With a clear flow of cooling water, both through the new valve and the strainers, the generating unit can finally be put back online, minutes before the deadline.
After we finished all those jobs, we've recommissioned the unit. It's now been dispatched, it's up and running, and it's pumping the megawatts back into the grid.
Not really any room to move down here at the moment. Trying to get these nuts off this slew ring.
50 metres above Brisbane City, the team from Lindor's Construction Logistics can't enjoy the panoramic views. They're tucked away in the cramped confines of the slew ring, the rotating section of the structure. 48 bolts need to be released before the deck and cabin above can be separated from the tower, and it's not proving straightforward.
Getting there though, we're a quarter of the way.
It's critical this crane remains a safe place to work, so the crew will run some stress checks when it eventually gets lowered to the ground.
Undo the bolts on the slew ring, and then we're going to take it as a whole piece down to get tested.
Yeah, Jugs.
Yeah, Jugs.
Yeah, Jugsy.
Better pull the deck off. Just gonna take a few bolts out of this ladder so they can pivot it. That way when they get to the ground they can just pull it out of the way.
Righto, we're all good.
And just like that, the platform is set free, leaving the crew to the long climb back to ground level. But the job is far from over.
Pulling the tower sections down, then we need to roll them down horizontally so we can load them out onto trucks. Oh, mate, down you come.
Almost a third of this massive crane is buried 5 floors down in the basement to give it the stability required to handle heavy loads.
First put the crane up here at the start of the job. Now it's time to hand this part of the job over so we can get rid of this part of the crane. Move her up there.
It's taken 4 hours to get the top of the crane down. Now Nick just wants to finish the job off.
Pulling down the last tower sections, mate. We are bloody this close to the end.
Lunchtime is looming, and after an early start, the crew is all too ready to wrap this job up.
Start hoisting up.
Up you go. Quicker.
I think it went well, yeah. Everything was prepared for, everything worked out in the end, so yeah, planned out well and turned out better.